They thought they had banished us forever. But now, finally, we have returned.
Hello and welcome to another Streamteam Writing Craft video. We're very excited to be able to chat about this particular topic. I quite like discussing character arcs. Anyway, allow me to bring in my wonderful guests, starting off with Net Champion.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I can't wait for this, actually. I've been waiting.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a really good one. And after a long hiatus, please welcome back the wonderful Dr. Crow.
Hello, Crow. Nice to see you again.
Yes, I know. It's nice to see me. It's good to see you too as well. I missed you.
Yeah,
Well, Neff left, so I can't get rid of her on my stream. She's been showing up every time now.
Cool.
It's just too bad we couldn't do that reaction video. Your internet died.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to it next week. One
Hopefully
more week.
it doesn't happen again.
Just one more week.
Well, one of these days we gotta react to Winter's Dragon, the failed pilot for the old Wheel of Time show. It's so bad. It's hilarious. Yeah, but Neff doesn't like Nanar stuff, so she can sit that one out if she wants.
Thank you.
Yeah. You need to develop a taste for Nanar stuff. When you do, it gets hilarious. Your taste expands so much. But
yeah,
anyway,
you become just like Dunn.
yeah, you go slightly insane. Yeah. Anyway, we need to bring in the two lovebirds on stream, both at the same time. This is going to be fun. Please welcome first the blushing lady.
Yep, that's me.
Hello, Becca. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Hi, Beck. Hi,
Hey.
Becky.
Thanks, Crow.
Oh my God, you guys haven't finished that?
No, we have not.
Why? No, I can't go back. I can't go back. I can't
Oh,
go back.
We finished
Oh,
the
no,
bad ones.
Yeah, we finished Fire.
Jurassic Park.
We finished Fire, and we got past the Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I was there for the
Chapter.
Jurassic Park one.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Ugh. I'm
That was
not
bad.
looking forward to going back to that one either.
No, I can't go.
Bro, come back.
No.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. Well, there's only the mental illness chapter after left.
Oh Lord.
We'll do that. We'll finish that another time. We'll figure something out. After we maybe after we do the sequels, which people who don't want to watch the sequels can totally sit out.
I still say you should hold off on the sequels until you're actually getting paid.
Why?
Because then you're making money off your suffering.
He gets enjoyment off of our suffering.
And well, I did the Transformers movies, and the Transformers movies are worse than the sequels. Like I not even being hyperbolic, I think that the Transformers movies are worse than the sequels. They are more like painful to sit through.
At least the sequels have semi-decent acting and beautiful effects.
And
They're pretty.
And the humor's only as opposed to cringe.
I don't know. It's hard to rate which one's worse, JJ, Ryan, or Bay.
I honestly think the like stuff like Skids and Mudflap is way worse than anything in the sequels. Same with Deep Wang.
We're just falling into depression here, aren't we?
Already. Yes,
Maybe.
are.
We need to watch a good movie.
Yes, we should.
Well,
watch
we're
Mad Max.
watching the good Star Wars movies at the moment, so
yeah. We also should watch Mad Max Fury Road, since Mad Max Fury Road is one of the best action movies of the 2010s. Possibly the best action movie.
It's a great movie, but not the best.
Okay.
It's good contender for best, probably.
Okay.
I don't know. It's been by 5 years since I've seen it. Maybe I should actually watch it before I make that judgment.
It's since like I'm kind of putting in the like, since I'm making kind of the comparison. I think it's like I guess like now that you've mentioned it, it's kind of a contender with like 3 in the top 3, since like John Wick's got to be up there. John Wick 2's pretty good. I need to see The Raid. I think that was 2010s. Dread is pretty good. Yeah, we'll have to figure out the best. We'll try and find the most critically acclaimed action movies of the 2010s and see what happens.
Yeah.
But let's bring in the bard so that Becca can get her jollies off.
Fuck you, Dunn.
You're gonna kill this relationship, Dunn, if you keep it up.
You think
no.
that week?
I think it's too strong for me to do anything because it is the OTP.
I'll take that. That's much better than most of them.
Here's to the bard and I'm calling me plum. Here's to the beast and the rest of you scum. The cage is locked in and the town is aflame, and it's ours for the taking. There you get the fame.
I was left in that back room for about 10 minutes now. I heard every word, and I got to be honest with you, Dunn. I pity your characters, because if you tease us this much, I have to assume the moment a character gets with another, all development just stops, and the rest of the book is just you racking on them or having them tease each other for at least 300 pages.
That's actually true. That happens in Lost Legion. It goes on for like 2 pages.
Holy shit.
And that's when he was 16-year-old Dunn and awkward.
Which one? Like,
Really
spoil it.
I forget their names, but it was the
Pieter and Valkar, I think.
I think that's the one about the girl who's like clearly from a different planet or something.
Oh.
I don't know. I dip space on the names.
Vasha and Garam.
Yeah, those two tease each other a lot. It's the ones not turning into monsters.
Yeah. For context, I'll read a little bit of Lost Legion on stream sometime, and on time just for funsies. Since I've already read 2/3 of the prequel, the prologue. I'll finish it sometime. But let's get into the topic at hand. Let's talk about character arcs. So there's 5 types of character arcs that we can go over. There's the positive character arc. There's the flat character arc. There's the negative character arc, disillusionment. there's the fall character arc, and then there's the corruption character arc. We'll kind of go through each of them as we go. But first, we'll chat about the what would you guys like to discuss first, or shall we just go in order?
Let's just go in order.
I think just go in order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Positive character arc, very stereotypical. Normal person to hero's journey.
Yeah.
Whole deal. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you guys say goes into a positive change character arc done well? And how can it be, I guess, done wrong, I suppose? Because everything can be done right, but everything can also be done wrong.
And more often than not, they're done wrong.
Disney.
Yeah. I think that let's leave Disney Star Wars out of it, because it's kind of until we can talk about them. We'll probably talk about them soon, just so that we can get them out of the way.
I actually got one that's kind of unique, now that I think about it.
Oh,
and it's totally not because I didn't just buy the Battle for Bikini Bottom game. But in all seriousness, SpongeBob in the first SpongeBob movie had an interesting character arc. It was all about him wanting to become a man, have society, or rather the citizens of Bikini Bottom see him as a man, but everybody says you're just a kid. So he goes on this long quest to return Neptune's crown. But at the end, it's not that people see him as a man, it's that he accepts the fact he's a kid. He's childish. He just kind of comes to accept it and embraces the fact that, yeah, I am who I am. But I think that's a really positive character arc change. He's just decided, I want to be who I am rather than what people expect me to be.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I agree with every word of that.
There's an element to character arcs like this that it kind of translates as the character becomes cool with who they are.
Yeah.
Loses the anxiety of
actually
not having a direction or a grasp on their lives, and then they and it doesn't have to be a literal I have stepped up. It just means they know what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually just found this kind of as I was doing my research for it. What do you guys think of this kind of plot breakdown? Edna, do you think it's accurate, or what do you guys think?
It's generic.
It's very, very generic.
Yes, I think that's meant to kind of be like the hero's journey is very generic. Eric, in a similar.
I wouldn't call it generic, but it's formulaic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the hero's journey is about as basic as it can get because it fits so many things.
Yeah, but just because it's basic and formulaic does not mean that it's a bad thing.
No, actually, it can be a very good thing.
It's also quite deceiving whenever you see stuff like this because of the way it's always structured. It makes it look like the first, second, third act are boxes the same size, but it's these things don't necessarily happen in bang 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 order. It's it's it can speed up and slow down.
Yeah, what if the story has a fourth or a fifth act even?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's over a space of many, many stories and so on.
Oh yeah.
It's okay, buddy. You've been a trooper for a while. I'll let you take a break this time. If you really want to come on, I'll bring you on, but you can take a break this time. And if you want. And just kind of post from the comment section. But I think that kind of it's interesting that it kind of puts it that it's kind of put as character believes lie overcomes lie, and the new truth is liberates them. Would you agree with that, or would you say that that's incorrect?
I don't think that works particularly.
Not every. I don't
Because-
think everything is a lie, though. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
it not everything is a lie.
How metaphorical is lie in this situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, like writercraft speak for like truth and lie always kind of messed with my head a little bit. It's a little bit weird. I kind of get what it's after, but because it's quite clear, but it's also quite hard to pin on like really unique stories, you know?
Maybe it's like the idea is that they believe some measure of truth about some measure of untruth about the world, about themselves, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of touching on like what I was saying about like the insecurity moving into like
But an insecurity is not a lie.
Well, no, but it's not literally saying believing. It's more like worldview or ways that you're seeing yourself. And when you're kind of insecure and you don't know what you're doing with your life, you're not believing the right thing. It's probably a better way of putting it. You're not believing the right thing in order to move on. And with a positive character arc, you move to believing something slightly different about yourself and about the world that moves you on. And I think that's kind of what it's trying to say, but it's probably not as formulaic as it's putting right there in the like step by step, but you kind of do have a transition between one and the other.
I still would not use the word lie.
No, status quo would probably be.
Yeah. Status quo would definitely be better.
Yeah, well,
Because a lie hints that there is an untruth, something is wrong, or the hero is not in their hero or even main character. All right, it implies different things depending on the wording. Yeah, but otherwise, this is a very simple, and most things can fit into this, which is what these things are supposed to be. They're just supposed to be like simple, baked down, bare bones.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, like one example, I think that kind of like the starting point, perhaps in Treasure Planet, is that he kind of just is living beneath his potential, and he thinks that that's all he can really be. Yeah,
for Jim, it's definitely that he's not going to be able to amount to anything special.
Yeah.
The quote unquote lie for Jim is what, like you say, it's believing that he doesn't have anywhere further he can go.
Yeah, I think that Amy is kind of a good example. Like, he believes that it's only when he hits rock bottom that he realizes that he does have some measure of goodness after he loses his hand. I think actually a good example of the exactly like believing a lie is actually Iron Man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it believes in the lie of the fact that he thinks that his arms dealing is not really hurting anybody, and that it's only being used by the good guys. And the first movie is him overcoming that. What are kind of like ways that we can kind of like make a positive character arc? Like, what would you say like goes into making a positive character arc work well?
Let's see. Probably shouldn't, but a good character arc is actually Han Solo over the original 3 movies.
Okay, that works. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Essentially, the ending of the positive character arc is that the character should be in a better position, a better person than he was or she was at the very beginning of the arc.
Well, you don't have to use it. This is kind of just a basic summation of like generally what it looks like.
Yeah.
Looks like from a very, very basic structural perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're just literally looking at a rib cage in terms of writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the example of Han Solo, I'd say, let's see, first act would be what he's like in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
The second act for Han Solo would be what happens in Empire, and the third and final arc would be Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So in A New Hope, he only cares about himself, and he only cares about the money that he can make by doing actions. At the very end, he goes back and saves Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Second act, he's more entrenched as part of the Rebel Alliance, but he has an obligation from before he started working with them that he has to take care of, and he can't take care of it because Leia's always going, "We need you, we need you." Yeah, I know you need me, but I need to pay Jabba so that he doesn't send people after me.
And they even hinted that in between the two movies, a bounty hunter did come for him and caused a bunch of problems for the rebels.
So,
which I think is a reference to the animated Star Wars Christmas special segment.
Yeah, man, that might be. And then,
wow. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I never realized that.
Yeah, because they have an animated segment where Boba Fett comes and tries to collect the debt on Han Solo.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I know Leia means well because Han is one of their smugglers, but if one of your people has a debt they have to pay, you should let them pay it.
And she's right too. The rebels really need Han Solo. He's a great. He turns out he's actually a really good leader.
Yeah, so if she given.
Huh? Han goes through this arc twice. The third movie is much more static because he's in carbonite for a good half of the movie, and he doesn't have much more to go.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. But this last arc is Han proving that he's a good leader. So.
Yeah.
Well, we do know that Amazon's Wheel of Time is coming out this year. We don't know for sure that we don't know for sure that it will be bad.
Yeah, what is this pessimism? Why aren't we being positive about new media?
To quote the Wheel of Times, if you brace for the worst possible outcome, every surprise is a good one.
Yeah.
That is true.
And well, the fact that all of these all of these creators are
in air quotes.
Dead.
Yeah, creators in air quotes are spouting all of these, diversity. We need more representation. Yeah, everything is a let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Because forcing everything where it's like it doesn't exactly fit is not a good idea.
I think it's just easier to do this stuff because the creators are literally dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one I have less hope for.
That one's going to hurt more because Lord of the Rings is much more influential on fantasy in general.
Yeah.
And it looks, and based on like the optics, Lord of the Rings looks pretty bad.
At least they couldn't use the Silmarillion. Like, they could not get the rights to the Silmarillion. They can only use the
thank God.
Yeah, but they can fuck it up in other ways.
No, I think that they are doing the Silmarillion. I think that
I heard they
could.
No, they're just making their own lore now.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing, because I heard they could not get the rights to the Silmarillion.
Which means they're going to botch it up even worse than if they did get the rights to the Silmarillion.
Well, I think like
So much discussion.
I think the
Well, no, diversity is not necessarily bad, but if you can't make the diversity fit, then it shouldn't be there in the first place.
It's more
What
that
kind of-
if that's your focus, then
Yeah,
you've got the wrong priorities.
the diversity shouldn't be the focus. It should be, I need to build these characters so that they all work, instead of, oh, I'm just this one thing.
Mhm.
Anyway, we're off topic.
Yeah, let's
But,
keep
yeah.
going. Let's get back.
Yeah.
Let's get back on it.
Let's not.
Yeah.
No.
I'm the voice of positivity here. Let's
Yeah.
pretend everything's sunshine and rainbows. Let's go.
Yeah.
Everything is sunshine and rainbows.
Everything is awesome.
Is there anything else to be said about the positive change arc?
I think like it's kind of just like this is kind of the standard arc throughout most of storytelling.
Yeah.
Character starts at point A, ends at point B.
I got a question
Yeah.
for you though. Is the arc Arthur Fleck made in Joker a positive or a negative arc?
That's negative.
That's negative.
That's a negative.
No, like, well, hold
I
on.
was-
Hold on. Let me argue my case for this. I think it's a positive arc. And the reason I say that, it's from the perspective of Arthur. Because he's not becoming corrupt, he's becoming free to become the person that he thinks he should be. He's finally
That does not make it a good thing.
no.
No.
The story frames all of this as a really, really bad event. So
But I get where Tarek's coming from here. He's talking positive, not in the sense of morally positive, but in the sense of growing.
Yeah.
As in the sense of like growing confidence, right? Because he kind of
What I'm
he
saying
goes
is that
from
from
the insecurity and up.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, that was I think that was it.
What I was going to say was, from Arthur's perspective, it's a very positive character arc because he's no longer nervous. He's no longer stuttery. He found his confidence. Like, from a moral standpoint, Becca's right. Yeah, it's very negative. But from a character standpoint, I would argue it's a positive arc.
all right, then I guess we have to determine whether or not it's the story standpoint or the character standpoint that matters more.
You
Well,
get
I was
good.
I was going to say that there's an element a lot of the time with and I don't know whether maybe as we discussed all the different types that we'll kind of realize this is more than just with the positive one. But there's an element that a lot of the time it's naivety to knowledge. You know, that it's like you go from a smaller place to a bigger place, and that can kind of lead you in all sorts of directions. But yeah.
Okay, so let's.
I think that like that. I think that Arthur Fleck would still kind of would go into the fall character arc. But we'll kind of get to that when we get to it.
Yeah. We need to go back to the second.
Yeah. The second one is actually very easy to kind of go through. It's basically just a flat arc where you like the example that I pulled out was actually Ethan Hunt from the Mission Impossible movies, which I did forget in the best action movies of the decade that Mission Impossible Fallout. Well, all three of the later Mission Impossible Fallouts are at least in the top 10, if not the top 5, and it's kind of like the 2010s were a really good decade for action movies. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But in terms of a flat character arc, it's basically they're trying to maintain the status quo. And usually a flat character arc is just somebody who is good at their job and is working against competent adversaries.
James Bond.
James Bond,
Yes,
absolutely.
James Bond.
Yes, James Bond.
Most action heroes from the 80s.
Yeah.
And
John
just
Matrix.
because they have a flat character arc does not mean that they are not interesting characters.
Oh yeah, I mean the flat character arc is definitely that character that is in a situation he doesn't need to grow; he just needs to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would make the argument that Max from Mad Max in all movies is a flat character because he never stays. He's always very self-interested, even at the end of the movie. He may help people, but he never stays around long enough to reap the benefits of what he's doing.
I would say the first one might be a bit more of a fall, but definitely the second and the third one. Is there 4 of them?
Yeah,
fourth
the
one,
Fury
yeah.
Road.
Fury Road is 4. Okay. Yes, he definitely is flat in the other 3.
Yeah. That.
Jesus is a flat character.
Well, when you're
That
perfect,
is true.
Yeah.
when you're perfect, like why would you change?
Yeah.
I mean, like a story about a character who's already at that perfection level, and
Mhm.
the world changes around them because of them could be interesting.
Then I would definitely think of Palpatine and the Emperor as a flat character arc.
I would agree with that. Yeah, he doesn't
Absolutely.
change at all. He just succeeds at the end of the prequels.
Would you say, and let's go anime for a moment, because I'm trying to think of character. No, I'm asking because I'm thinking about. I'm trying to look at this from a cultural lens, specifically in manga, because Neff, would you say Goku is a flat character art from like
yes,
Dragon Ball?
yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely a flat character.
His growth is all.
Everyone around him changes. I think the only time he's got growth is at the beginning. And but by the time that he's an adult, yeah, that's a flat character arc from then on.
Yeah, it's more about Goku
Vegeta.
getting stronger. Vegeta is a positive
character arc.
Yeah, Vegeta's a positive character arc.
Yeah, Goku really only grows more social throughout the original Dragon Ball. He has a couple of like little moments of character where he becomes more, I don't know, accustomed to the way people are and not just fighting. And then he's pretty much the same all throughout Z up until like the end of the Cell Saga, where he's like, "Oh, Gohan doesn't like to fight." Oh, darn!
Kind of wasted about 16 years here.
Well, I would say also that Gohan is also a positive character arc because he goes.
No, that's a negative character arc. He became a weaker character.
Well, no, from the beginning of Z to the Cell Saga is definitely a positive character arc.
And then he becomes a forgotten arc.
Yes. Because it's all, oh no, we need to focus on Goku rather than Gohan.
That's because Gohan became boring.
I mean, they really should have ended with Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really should have. They really should have. I mean,
teriyaki flavored characters. It's a flavor of character that's kind of like salty.
But yeah, I mean, if they had continued though, we wouldn't have gotten the best Vegeta moment in the entire series.
I think that's why they continued, in all honesty. Vegeta needs that character development.
It could have been more about Vegeta, I think. It probably would have been better. I don't know. There's a lot we could talk about the Buu saga on its own.
Yeah, let's not do that right now.
That's going to be another tangent. We're on character arcs.
That I won't be able to contribute in any way, shape, or form to because I've never watched anything more than a few trailers of Dragon Ball.
Well, we can watch Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Kai or something. Because Dragon Ball Z has a whole ton of filler that Kai just cuts out. It's a lot easier to watch.
Okay.
That's a no, Neff.
But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh wait, no, you've seen Castlevania, right, Dunn?
Yes, I've seen the entirety of Castlevania.
Okay. Trevor had a very good character arc, actually. Like, once Sypha got involved, because he started becoming more of a people person. Even Alucard kind of went through 3 character arcs as the series went on.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he starts off with kind of like liking like learning to like his like friends that he's made, and then he
the betrayal, and then he has that downward arc, and then he goes back up.
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I do like how Alucard Castlevania goes. It's a
Well, for conflict, I'm not sure if Julius is going to have a flat character arc or a positive one. Gracie is definitely going to have a positive character arc, and Nero is definitely going to be one of the 3 negative arcs that we've got listed. But I'm not sure which one it's going to be just yet.
Yeah, since I would actually say like Hera kind of has
Hera is very flat.
until the end where she makes a very, very, very bad decision. Morally speaking, it works out really well for her, but from a moral standpoint, her decision is very, very bad. But it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know how you could kind of say the video game character like characterized, because it really depends.
Depends from game to game.
I would argue that one of the best contenders for that may be Red Dead Redemption 2, because depending on how you do things in the game, you either have Arthur become this sort of noble rogue, or you make him into a total sociopath. And the reason I say that is because depending on Arthur's honor dishonor meter in the game, his reactions either become more stoic or they become more violent. And I actually think that's a great way to show that kind of character growth with player agency.
Mm-hmm. I think one example might be like I would agree. Yes, because his thing is he needs to become a better, get a better understanding of what heroism actually is. Well, kind of it depends. You gotta get a lot of it's actually a very high skill set in order to create a video game.
Games are an art. I mean, the graphics, the story.
Yeah, they are.
On the inside.
I will.
I read a book once.
Let's see. A flat arc.
Doom guy.
Doom guy.
That's not even an arc. Like, he has no arc.
He's just awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So a flat. Actually, thinking about it, Leia's arc in the original trilogy is kind of flat. She doesn't really change.
That's true.
I think it's a bit of both, because it like you have bad games and good games, just like you have good and bad books.
And
if you're
good games can have bad graphics.
If you're good enough at
games can have really good graphics. So.
Neff, don't interrupt people.
Sorry. Go ahead, Crow. I'm sorry.
Becca was first.
It depends on like the aspect you're talking about as well. Like, you know, there's lots of components that go into making it. In the same way that filmmaking has lots of components, some of filmmaking is more art and less craft, and then some of it's the other way around, you know, and same goes for games, really. It's just different skill sets.
If you're good enough at your craft, it is an art. Art itself is a craft. I wouldn't say plumbing is an art, but somebody can use plumbing to make an art.
Yeah.
That still goes with kind of like, I think it also like depends on like what your definition of art is, since unfortunately art has become one of those flexible words that is misused frequently, and the definition has been heavily diluted.
I really hate that.
Yeah. All art is subjective bullshit nonsense.
Oh my god.
I know this is gonna sound weird, but have any of you seen the animated show, the animated version of Dilbert?
Very little of it.
I didn't even know that Dilbert had an animated show.
Here's the thing. Very funny. It's not what you'd expect from a show about the comic strip. Anyways, the reason I bring that up is because Dilbert constantly goes through these I would say he's a flat character, but the difference is that his views on the world are constantly changing with the way he interacts with it. So I think he has a flat arc literally through the entire series. But there is one episode that deals with like literally manufactured art, and it turns out that the art is what is good art is made up by this mafia thing of like Leonardo da Vinci and a bunch of other artists.
Yeah, it's
a
like
great
Oh, that's
show.
fantastic.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But yeah, art is not subjective.
Yeah.
I got one more example of flat arc. The Great
Okay.
Lebowski.
Oh yeah, definitely. Nothing changes for him. Period. And
Yeah.
he doesn't.
The whole
change
point
at
of his
all.
movie is is just stay in the status quo. He's doing everything he can to avoid the plot.
To quote High School Musical, stick to the status quo.
Why would you quote that?
I am
Felt the-
lost and baffled. What the fuck?
All right, it's been a good stream, everybody. I'm glad I'm back. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I got a dinner to
come
go
on,
to in like
we're not
20
done.
minutes.
No, you're
Done.
not.
No, but Dunn is still on this stream, and that's kind of becoming a net negative.
Okay, I think we're done with the flat
No,
art.
yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. No, we know. It's just it's interesting to kind of like see like I think Nostalgic had like one of his better videos was about
Whether games are art.
yeah whether video games, and he like saying they kind of are becoming art. They're basically like actually my sister's girlfriend talked about how books are 1D art, one-dimensional art, movies are two-dimensional art, and video games are 3D art or 3D
I can see that
storytelling.
honestly. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's because it's the levels of interaction with the medium. So yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a big topic. Last little thing I say is art is objective. The enjoyment is subjective.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, since you can kind of define what's good and bad art, you just need to kind of like make a bunch of comparisons.
Yeah, and just because you enjoy something doesn't make it good. And it doesn't make it bad either.
Mhm.
Anyway.
So, the negative character arc, disillusionment. So, one example of this is actually Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars.
Easily.
Where she,
Yeah.
Yep.
where she
Yep.
becomes disillusioned with the Jedi. And I think, like, in terms of disillusionment, I think it's kind of I think, like, actually another good example is, like, kind of a bunch of I guess you could say that Captain America Winter Soldier is supposed to be a disillusionment character arc where you find
Oh,
out
that's definitely true.
Yeah.
that S.H.I.E.L.D. is infested with Hydra agents.
I would argue it's the whole U.S. government as a whole because Steve isn't even listening to the higher ups above S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's such interesting. It follows the naivety to knowledge thing, same as before. So I guess that's informing the Arthur Fleck question.
I would say Morpheus in the Matrix movies is definitely a disillusionment arc.
Magneto.
He gets
Magneto.
Magneto. And Morpheus at the end of the third movie, he's looking at everything he has accomplished. He's got everything he wanted because the war is now over. The humans and the machines now have a chance for peace thanks to Neo. And he's looking at it and he's like, "Is this it? That's it?" It's just.
Yeah.
And
Magneto
he's like he
is-
doesn't quite believe it.
Yeah, Magneto's. I think Magneto qualifies for disillusionment.
Well, I think he kind of just starts out as disillusioned more than he becomes disillusioned.
Yeah, maybe.
Since he starts out in the worst place you could possibly go, at least in the first X-Men movie and in First Class.
Yeah, and even the
Yeah.
comics, if we
Yeah.
ignore his original, where he was just a generic bad guy, starting off as a Holocaust survivor, is just you probably wouldn't have a very good experience with humanity at that point.
Yeah. So I would say that his disillusionment arc happened before any of it started.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can't remember if I've seen. I don't know. I don't think I've seen or read Elric of Melniboné Bone.
oh my goodness.
Well, that's actually kind of an interesting thing. The heroine's journey is actually slightly different than the hero's journey, just in terms of like the patterns that have arisen.
Okay, stop. Let's
it's-
not bring that into this. We're not talking about that.
Well, I think it fits because well, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not saying. Hear me out. Generally, like, and I'll actually use like Disney princess as an example of like female hero's journey. Generally,
It's still a hero's journey.
Yes, but there are slight there's a major difference. One is that male character journey is usually induced by rejection of the call, whereas female character arcs are usually female character / hero's journey are marked by a want to get out of where they are. So like Belle in Beauty and the Beast wants to get out of the poor provincial town. Ariel wants to get out of the sea and onto the land. That sort of thing.
Breaking out the box thing.
Yeah. Box. He.
Hey, what are you? Fuck off. What are you doing?
Yeah, what the
fuck? Sod off, done.
Well, you said box.
What does box have to do anything about it?
Because box is referring to something.
Don't. Don't.
You're making it stretch there. There's another word. There's a particular shape the box has to be to make that stretch, and I'm not going to say it.
He's talking about vagina.
Yeah.
God.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
What?
Stop it.
You couldn't resist so much that was one of the biggest stretches you've done so far. Jesus fucking Christ.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That is a deep reference. I don't know how many people would really get that one.
I get it.
Oh, lovely. Someone else has seen in
I've seen both of them.
Yeah, the second one was kind of weird.
Kind of.
It was very weird. But yeah, let's go with this. Let's get back to it. Sorry.
Oh. No, killing.
No, let's leave our part alone.
Can Neff move from co-host to main host, please?
Hee hoo hoo hee. And I have no, actually my jokes are pretty bad.
Yes.
I love how there's no disagreement. Okay, so other examples of like disillusionment. I think actually
Anakin Skywalker.
Pre-Darth Vader, yes.
Yes, Anakin
the start of
Skywalker
Darth Vader.
in the prequels.
Mm-hmm. A lot of, I guess, like spies that uncover the secret hidden truths of things going on around them, Illuminati, anything like that. I'm not very familiar with those stories. I haven't seen a lot of them.
I guess actually Ethan Hunt in #1 because he finds out that his mentor Neff is already empowered. But Ethan Hunt kind of finds out that his team was killed by his friend rather than like he finds out that like his whole team gets killed, and then he finds out that his friend was behind the whole thing. I think, but that's kind of an example as well. But like, how can you kind of like, what can go bad or wrong with a disillusionment arc?
It could definitely feel like the hero doesn't have a reason to be disillusioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like the character is being railroaded into this box that the author needs them to be in. And it's just not organic.
I can also see this being a product of very overtly complicated and contrived plots.
Yes.
Yeah.
There needs to be some contrivances for it to work, but if the contrivances don't feel like they are, if it doesn't feel like the character came to these
conclusions logically,
then yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think a part of it is the idea that you need to kind of like have two things. You need to have the character like believe the lie or the untruth or something about it, and have it be logical that they do believe it, but then they believe the new truth. I think actually Tom Cruise kind of goes through this arc fairly frequently. Like Minority Report, he goes through this arc. He also goes through it in
Blade Runner. Harrison Ford goes through it in Blade Runner.
Okay, Harrison Ford. Yeah, that's a good example. I think Edge of Tomorrow, not Edge of Tomorrow, Oblivion is actually a good example of a disillusionment arc, because. So, who cares if I spoil Oblivion? Since
before you do, I apologize, Don. I got to bail. I got dinner reservations I got to get to. But thank you for having me on.
Of course, it was great to have you.
See you guys later.
See you.
Okay.
Bye, Tarek.
Bye. Okay, so who cares if I spoil Oblivion?
I've never heard of it, so I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, the game came out back in like what 2000.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to make the game
some of it, but
so it's actually not about. It's actually a sci-fi movie.
I know. I'm just being a jerk.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is Tom Cruise is this guy who's taking care of Earth and believes that like all the humans are on Titan. And turns out he's been working for the aliens that have who destroyed the moon and are screwing up the planet, rather than like working for and humanity are kind of these hunted things. And he is actually a clone of the original guy. And there's like hundreds of copies of him.
That sounds stupid.
Yeah, it does.
It's executed a lot better than I'm describing it. But like I would definitely say that it's interesting and it's kind of fun. And he just finds out, everything that, well, yeah, but it's kind of just not everybody has read the same books.
I read a book once.
Also, to be fair, with movie plots, they tend to be more succinct and simple to explain, so they're quite good as examples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since craft across genres across mediums is the same, it's just the technicals that are different. But I guess like in terms of like a disillusionment arc, it could be like in a book. I suppose that Sandan Glokta and Giselle Den Luther in First Law. Does anybody care if I spoil First Law because as I would
No.
You don't care? Okay. So
I'm probably never going to read it, so go
okay.
for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like from what I understand, like the enjoyment of that book is probably more in the characters themselves than the plot twist. So you know.
So most of the plot twists are in book 3, but what happens with Giselle Den Luther is that his story is basically it appears to be the lost heir becoming king. And it seems as though this wizard guy is kind of doing the Merlin thing where he's grooming him to rule. It turns out that he is not, in fact, the king's illegitimate son, but because when the the wizard who has been his mentor throughout the book, kind of tells him, "No, I'm in charge. You are just the son of a dime store hooker that I put in that, and could have been one of multiple people that I could have ascended to being king." And his disillusionment is basically understanding that being a king, you have no real power. You are always going to be mired in bureaucracy. And that's kind of his character arc. And Sam Danglocta's is somewhat similar in terms of he finds out, oh, so yes, he is, that the wizard Baez is the real power, because Baez owns the major bank that the crown is in major debt to, and that's his arc is kind of understanding. Oh, so that's how the world works. The people I thought had power didn't have power. Well, I can work within this system. That's the idea of First Law. And same with Logan Nine Fingers, where his arc is kind of at least to a certain extent understanding that sometimes people can't really overcome their violent impulses, and that like revenge is deeply unsatisfying, but he's still going to get it because he has to settle a score. And that's kind of the nature of First Law. That's kind of like First Law. That's a lot of the First Law plot in a nutshell. That's a good question. I think that Count of Monte Cristo is more an example of corruption.
Yeah.
Because what Count of Monte Cristo does is he kind of he really like embrace it. It's only at the for the most part in the book embraces the notion of vengeance will give me satisfaction, despite the fact that he feels very unsatisfied by it. And like he gets revenge in a couple ways. Like he gets revenge on Danglars, then he gets revenge on Fernand Mondego, and then its final revenge is on Villefort. But he kind of goes a little bit too far with Villefort due to the fact that he makes it so that Villefort's wife commits suicide and kills their kid. And it's like it's at that point that he realizes, oh, I have done I've gone too far. And then he kind of just rides off into the sunset with his young attaché, because reasons I don't understand what what's his face. I can't remember his name. It's not Victor Hugo. I keep getting the two mixed up. Alexander Dumas. Yeah, Alexander Dumas. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, like he thinks that his friend. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Let's go back to disillusionment. We're kind of jumping around a little bit, but that's kind of like it's kind of interesting to kind of talk about each element of like character arc. Yeah. 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 Is milder, but then he's over it. Yeah. Yeah, his young attaché because she's attractive. Yeah. That's Three Musketeers as well, yeah. Any thoughts on the disillusionment arc? I think like part of it is kind of like it's like we're kind of in a saturation of like negative character arcs. We don't really have many like positive character arcs, and that's well, it's kind of like I keep getting him and Victor Hugo messed up because I always remember. No, you're fine.
I agree.
And I think you're fine.
I'm sorry, what?
Crow, perfect comedic timing. I love it.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, but I think like it's kind of interesting that kind of like we don't like. I think like like I'm kind of one of the few people on this team that actually likes negative character arcs and finds them fascinating.
Oh no,
Well,
I think they're interesting.
They
Oh, okay.
are, and I actually do like negative character arcs if they're done well. Anakin's is
Mediocre. Let's go with
mediocre, but I still had fun watching him fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go for some dark depression sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And too bad he's gone because I was going to say Arthur Fleck is definitely a negative character arc.
Yeah.
If he had just gotten the help he needed, he could have been something great, but he didn't, and he goes to this dark place that he'll never get out of.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could have been anything really that great since he's not that funny.
Well, I mean, he was a good clown for the kids. He could have come to accept that, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know whether is he disillusionment or is he?
Oh, that's another good one. He might be disillusioned because he thinks he's something great, but he really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, couldn't it be a little bit of both?
Does he discover a truth that's like?
He doesn't commit suicide like he plans.
He doesn't come across as jaded. That's the thing. That's kind of the thing with the disillusionment thing. It's like the character becomes jaded.
Oh, it could also be that they accept the lie instead of the truth, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Since like he does kind of, it's kind of interesting, kind of where he thinks initially based on his kind of crazy narcissistic mom that for a little bit that he's Thomas Wayne's son, and then finds out, oh, my mom had allowed me to be abused as a kid, and that's why I have my laughing defect is because of my mom.
Yes.
I would say yes. I don't know how to classify as let me kind of like, since I think Azula just kind of goes mad.
She digs deeper into her villainy. And it breaks her. Her constant search for perfection eventually leads her to excluding herself completely. And then ultimately, that's what really destroys her, is that she has nothing left.
So I guess you could say that it's a fall because the climactic moment is her destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And she really wants to salvage her wand to becoming Fire Lord, even though she kind of fails to get it because she just goes full paranoia because clearly she is not mentally well, like at all.
She kicks out her servants. She kicks out her bodyguards. She kicks out her mentors. Her friends have betrayed her because she almost killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her dad, a jerk. So
her dad's a sociopath. Yeah. Any other thoughts on here before we keep going?
I think we've said all we can.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of a fall character arc. Fall character arcs are kind of hard to do. At least from what I've seen, I haven't seen that many fall character arcs done right, and generally they're with bad guys. And because kind of it's ultimately like you want to, it kind of a fall is usually kind of a loss of their morality or loss of innocence.
Yeah, as I said, Anakin Skywalker fits all three of these.
Yeah. Yeah, this type of character arc is definitely fits very well and comfortable with the I used to be a hero, but now I'm not.
Yeah, kind of Punisher to a certain extent, where kind of he is slowly. Well, it's kind of hard because like Star Wars is kind of a cultural touchstone,
and well, Anakin Darth Vader fit all of the arcs almost. So
yes, evil Danny is one of the worst decisions ever made.
Tell you what, you stop bringing up Game of Thrones, I'll tell Neff to stop bringing up Star Wars.
Yeah,
well,
and I'll do it too.
I haven't brought it up in a while. Since...
Not you. I'm talking to Balerion.
Okay.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's like the characters of Star Wars are iconic characters. Of course, we're probably going to bring them up at least once for the character arcs.
Yeah,
because even if the prequels are mediocre at the best, they still tell negative character arcs. So, yeah.
So Skids just brought up Cruella. I have a lot to say about that movie.
I would not call her a fall.
Well,
first off, that movie is garbage in every sense of the word.
Well, the thing is, I know what happens in the movie because I watched EFAP movies because I don't want to pay to watch it.
Yeah.
But I would. They turn her into somebody who is just a flat evil psychopath who wants to murder a bunch of puppies to make a coat, into a semi-sympathetic person who basically swindles her way into stealing her fortune back through means that would not work.
It's just like, why did they gotta make the villain sympathetic? And real quick, because it's going to constantly be a thing, I thought Balerion was complaining that we brought up Star Wars too much because of the whole use a book. I misread and read into that myself. So
yeah,
my bad. Didn't mean to get petty.
Yeah. Bad examples of each of the arcs.
Bad example of a positive. Captain Marvel, and then Captain Marvel with the Delicious Illusion. Captain Marvel fits all of these. It's just
yeah.
I think so. I think with I can't really bring up like specific things about like positive done wrong. I think that the foundational element of a bad character arc done wrong, of a positive character arc, is generally the change that is made feels hollow for whatever reason. Either the person who is making the positive character change doesn't really change. I guess Sam Witwicky in the Transformers movies is a attempt at a positive character arc that kind of fails because Sam Witwicky is a selfish little prat throughout the movies and doesn't change at all, even though they say that he is changed.
Well, I know this dives into forbidden territory, but I'd say Rey is definitely a badly done. She has no character arc. She's even a bad flat character arc.
Yeah. Yeah, she
Well,
goes through.
you kind of have to have foundational, character traits in order for a flat character arc to work.
She doesn't have character traits. That's the problem.
Indeed.
That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
Based on what I
personally, I think Maleficent is worse because they seem to have forgotten that Maleficent is a fairy.
I think from a writing craft, Cruella is worse based on the fact that Maleficent is just bland.
All right, I gotta bring it up. I can't hold it in. That goddamn robe scene in Cruella is pissing me off.
Which one?
There's a scene in the movie where she shows up to a black and white party, black and white dress party, and she's in this big white robe.
Oh,
she gets everybody attention. Yeah, she gets everybody attention by knocking over this big fountain champagne glass thing. So she spills alcohol all over her place, takes a cigarette, lights her robe on fire, and that burns off to reveal she's wearing a red gown underneath of it. It's a quick change effect, so it's got all this magic stuff that anybody who knows me, I'm the magician. It's just so the first off, the robe she's wearing is clearly silk. Silk doesn't burn like that; it melts. Second, she's wearing gloves, and those burn off, so bind to her arms. All that fire, everything, just lighting all up. All the product that would be up in her hair and everything would have caught. All the alcohol she just spilt on the floor probably would have caught, causing massive amounts of damage, killing everybody at this party either from the fire or the stampede to get away from it.
Or the smoke inhalation.
All the smoke inhalation, all the absolute destructions. But no, Cruella is not to mention she's broke at this point in the movie. So the robe she's wearing, if it's made of like flash cotton, which is about $20 per square inch, it's like a super stupid expensive dress. And yes, Tyler Preston, it is a ripoff from the Hunger Games. They just wanted to be cool. The reason why the Hunger Games does it right is because it's a futuristic society with like near magic technology
and infinite money.
Infinite money. And they also are not setting the clothes on fire. The clothes are spouting fire.
That's also a good point. I think Katniss Everdeen is actually a good example of disillusionment because she's slowly especially in 3 where she finds out, so the rebels are just as bad as the Capitol, and like it or hate it, I was fine with the ending of Hunger Games personally. Where kind of she finds out, Coin is just as bad as Snow, possibly worse. Well, probably just as bad. Because
I mean,
go for it.
If you're reading like a post-apocalyptic type thing like that, I feel like a jaded sort of ending is kind of what you go for, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially since, and at least it's kind of happy in terms of like her and Peeta get together and they're living in.
It was very YA, but cute.
It is very YA.
I only read the first book and I've had no interest in reading anymore after that.
Yeah, and Becca, I'm almost finished with Siege and Storm, and I'm like having to take breaks and listening to podcasts because I'm just like the YA BS is strong in this one.
Is that the third one?
No, it's the second one.
Second one. Oh God.
The will they won't they with Mal and Alina is so dumb.
I watched the show last week, just watched it all through pretty much in a day. I was like, oh God, I forgot all of this. I forgot this entire series. So I'm going to re-listen to the audiobooks. I'm kind of excited just to go through the bullshit.
Yeah, the books kind of I actually prefer the books over the show over the book because the show actually takes breaks from the main character and has her has us do actual stuff with the crows who are more interesting characters.
To do what with me?
The
Oh, God.
crows.
I will say the only thing is the thing that if I like something about that series quite a lot, it's the world building, and because you kind of stretch out among a lot of characters in the show, it stretches out the world building but makes it less deep. So that's the only thing.
It's a Shadow and Bone is a white. Yes, this is Shadow and Bone. Yeah, where it's I quite like the show. I think that it does some things better. I'd be down to talk about it sometime.
Yeah, I would.
We're a bit late to the game, but it's interesting to say the least. Kind of the differences, but like the first book is less YA-ish, and then the second one is like, nope, we're going full Hunger Games, but we'll add a villain love interest to.
Oh God, I remember listening to it on the way to uni. Oh God, and go, what the fuck?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, the part where the Darkling like shows up in Elena's dreams as Mal is just like, okay.
Tell you what, it's really funny. You'd think that this was a Raylo ripoff, except it was written before Raylo. So is Raylo a Shadow and Bone ripoff?
Maybe.
So Ryan Johnson isn't even original in that front. Fantastic.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Johnson was never original to begin with, so let's go with that. But we'll talk about Ryan when it comes to it. Yeah.
Hello, Lolt West.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep going. I think that like, but to kind of tie I think that like Shadow and Bone is actually kind of an example of, at least I've seen so far, is an example of a corruption character arc, because it seems as though at the point that I'm at, Alina is slowly getting corrupted by the fact that she has an immense amount of power, and the power is slowly corrupting her. At least I've seen. I don't know how it ends, but that's what I see so far. Am I correct in that assumption, or am I dead wrong?
No, I don't think the writer, to be blunt, had the balls to go that far. It would have been really cool if she did, if she became like, epic evil by the end. But no, she does a 180. She goes back to being virtuous, and yeah, it's quite lackluster really. The third book's quite I don't think I finished the third book because I got to a point where I was like, I know where this is going, and sort of fell off.
Would you say Walter White is a fall character arc?
Yes, I would definitely. Yes, I'm rewatching. I think that I kind of want to do all three original trilogies in one stream. All three original trilogy movies in one stream, because I don't know.
There isn't much to talk about.
Yes, most of the meat is in Empire and Jedi, when kind of the real drama between Luke and Vader sets in. And there's a lot more wrong with Return of the Jedi than there is with New Hope, even though I find Return of the Jedi much more satisfying. And also I like lightsaber fights more than I like space battles. Yes, they are. Yes, that's definitely true. So, but I would say that like with Walter White, that's a good example, because Walter White slowly loses his morality. I think Frodo mostly comes in terms of he just is kind of the same character that he is at the beginning, but he's more traumatized. Yeah, watch all three first and then talk about all of them.
Yeah, that's what our idea was. So.
Stream.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that Frodo doesn't really change. He just gets more traumatized throughout the movie.
It's not the adventure he was hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually a good example of a fall then positive character arc is actually Rand from Wheel of Time. Would you agree with that, Crow?
Yes, he definitely has a positive. He has a bit of a fall. He goes back through a positive. He goes through a disillusionment. Then he goes back to positive. He goes all over the place. He's a very dynamic character.
Yeah.
Matt is almost positive all the way through.
As is Perrin.
Perrin is positive. Those two, well, they have it a lot easier, to be frank, but not by much, but they do.
Yeah.
Nynaeve has a positive one. Egwene, pretty much everybody but Rand has a positive character arc.
Yeah.
Except for maybe some of the smaller side characters. I can't remember his name, but the tinker who's with Perrin.
Aram,
he has a fall.
Yeah.
His arc is definitely a fall. Logain is definitely a positive.
Mm-hmm.
I could list off characters for years. Brigitte may be a disillusionment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a disillusionment that ends positively. So.
Yeah. We'll talk about that when we get to the end of Wheel of Time. But I think fall is kind of it's you got to make believable reasons for a fall to happen in order for it to be believable. And usually a fall is related to either something selfish that the person is doing that they believe is moral, or they just don't care whether it's moral or not. That's my assessment of a fall arc. Would you guys agree with that, or have anything to add?
Yeah, the fall definitely has to be believable. Otherwise, a lot of these things just are contrived.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, that's kind of how this character arcs in general go, isn't it? It's they have to have a reason to be going in the direction they're going. Whether it's positive, negative, or
Another thing is thinking about it is these aren't all one size fits all either. It's characters can have a mixture of all these different types of arcs.
Yeah, this is just very much boiled down.
Yeah.
To the base elements that can fit nearly anything. I think pretty much Sanderson mostly does pretty much positive character arcs, all around. Vin is a very positive character arc. Kaladin is very much a positive character arc. Sanderson kind of falls into the category falls into the character writing of write a good person, just make it really, really, really dang difficult to be good in the world he's created.
Well, yeah, I think it's a really kind of nice, subtle way of being able to write a world that embodies absolute depression, i.e. Mistborn, and still somehow you read those and you don't feel like killing yourself at the end of it.
Yeah.
he ends on a little ray of hope.
And I think it's basically because the characters are going on a positive journey despite everything else being negative.
The characters in Mistborn feel much larger than life. They are those characters that are in a dark setting, but they're going to make things better. They're working very hard to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that kind of a lot of Sanderson's thing is being initially disillusioned, and then fighting through the disillusionment to be heroic. I think is what do you think, Becca? At least in terms of Mistborn. Like
Sorry, I had to check something.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, I think that's a good. Yeah, that's a very good. I think that's a good idea. That's where somebody lies to themselves and like believes the lie and rejects the truth that they are going down a bad path. Like in the middle of season 5, Walter White stages a prison massacre in order to like cut his losses in regards to certain people that are in Gustavo Springs former members of Gustavo Fring's agency, and ends up killing Mike, which is like, dang, it's rough. It's rough, man. And he does come back from it, but I think that part of it is that Walter kind of, it's only mainly because the only reason why he comes back is because he's like, I can't just let Jesse die. And that's kind of the only thing that's kind of, and then he decides to settle all of his debts because, like a Lannister, Walter White pays his debts. No joke on that. Dang, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Ha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Most people
didn't
aren't.
land.
Most people want to see a hero succeed. It's really why stories are written the way they are.
Yeah.
The hero failing is like good every now and then, but people want to pick me up usually.
Yeah, it's kind of the idea that like if Star Wars had ended with Empire, I don't think it would have been as remembered as fondly.
No.
I think the fact that Return of the Jedi ends with Luke winning and redeeming his dad, it kind of ends with a very good example of how to get it to endure as a classic, because like kind of people remember the ending more than they remember the middle, unless the middle was really, really bad.
People enjoy entertainment for escapism. They want to see heroes and stuff, and well, tragedies have their place.
Yeah, like your Macbeths, your Richard III's, your
Romeo and Juliet,
your Othellos.
Yep.
Shakespeare was really good at it.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
We should do some Shakespeare movies and adaptations. That might be fun.
Ask Blue about that one. She's a big Shakespeare fan.
Yeah, I'd be down. Since there's a lot of good ones, like you have, I'd be interested to. Well, that's if he ever ends it.
I'm convinced that series of books is never going to end.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you guys who are fans of it, but I just can't see it happening.
Oh no! Like,
which series of books?
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh,
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it will never, ever. It will never be finished. It's basically Jon Snow is going to remain dead. Dany is going to remain in the Dothraki Sea forever. Arya is going to be in the House of Black and White forever. Bran is going to be stuck in the tree forever, and Aegon's going to be permanently on the verge of attacking Storm's End, and the only thing we'll get are the sample chapters.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
I think we still got one more to go.
Yep. Yep. So the one I decided to use was Nightcrawler. I don't know how many people have seen this one.
For which one?
Corruption.
I haven't actually seen it, but I think I know the story, if I remember rightly, because I have seen analyses of it and stuff, because it was covered briefly when I was at uni. But yeah, been a while though.
Yeah. So part of the thing about corruption is, I think that an example of corruption is Tyrion Lannister, because Tyrion Lannister fully is going down the arc of he wants to become he like slowly gets disillusioned with how the world works even further than he already is, and sees, oh, my dad was even worse to me than I thought he was, and ends up killing his dad on the toilet, as you do, with a crossbow, after he finds out that his dad is banging his his former girlfriend, which is just like, oh, yeah. And it's kind of that understanding of like, wow, you are a horrible human being.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Yes, Macbeth is a good example of a corruption character arc.
It's
Godfather?
Is it a good way to word it that it's the disillusion but with like extra steps, basically?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of like, rather, disillusionment kind of ends usually with the character rejecting the lie that they believed.
Yes, it's like the mindset is the disillusionment, and then the corruption's like they then move on to do something and like take actions as a different kind of character afterwards.
I guess like you could say that like they're trying to perpetuate, like, rather than disillusionment would be rejection of the lie, corruption would be fully embracing the lie and perpetuating the lie.
Yeah, like it's an active sort of an active step afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess like disillusionment's usually like the stepping away and kind of going on your own way, whereas corruption is like, no, I'm gonna stay here either because the lie is more profitable to me monetarily, or because I'm afraid to accept the truth.
Yeah, like there's a doubling down.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring up Nightcrawler is because, like, Lou Bloom is just kind of a guy who's, like, starts off as just selling scrap metal that he's stolen, I imagine. And then he slowly works his way up to becoming a, like, news anchor talking about these, like, really horrible things that happen for exploitation reasons. And then and then it kind of in like he even like stages a murder, or will go into a house like after he's found out about a murder happening, and then just goes in to the house, doesn't call 911, and then like gets the initial footage so that he can like get a good deal from the news station. And it's like, it's just somehow, and it's just like, it's I think the main like strength of the film is Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as a convincing sociopath, where he barely moves his face when he's alone, and when he's not alone, like when he kind of talks, he just says, like, just like the way that he talks just feels really fake, and feels like he's like telling his face to move as opposed to like naturally moving it. Any other thoughts on like a corruption character arc, and why that individually works?
Again, I hate bringing this up, but this is the last time it's going to happen. Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Yes, nods.
He's kind of,
Would you say that Godfather is a story about a corruption arc?
I would say so from the little I've seen of it. I've never seen the Godfather movies. I need to though. But from the little I understand.
anything that involves someone becoming part of the mafia, I would definitely say is a corruption arc.
Well, it depends on where they started in the first place, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, that's true, but
Since,
civilian to mafia is definitely corruption.
I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, it's more that his family is mafia, and he just sort of goes from rejecting it to embracing it. But I've only seen part one, but yeah, like it's not disillusionment, because he doesn't just accept that he's a member of the mafia. He goes, okay, I'm going to use this, and I'm gonna do what I hated my father for doing, essentially.
I'm gonna go the whole hog.
Every time
Yeah.
I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
And
Bring on
he
the meme.
accepts his lot in life, that I'm never gonna get out.
Mhm.
So I might
And
as
in
well
the
make the
end,
best.
And in the end, his like I think as far as I remember, of like some spoilers that I found out from that, like his daughter ends up dying.
I believe.
F.
Yeah, because of his actions. And it's kind of hard, and it's kind of interesting to kind of like see where kind of a corruption arc. I think I'm not sure like how to like classify like a corruption arc, because like in terms of difficulty, it's kind of it's relatively simple to do a like a positive character arc. You just need to make it relatively believable that the person goes through this positive change. Whereas corruption and falls, you have to make it believable that that person would fall, and that there is legitimate reasons. And with corruption, I think all you really need to do is present a tantalizing forbidden fruit that the person wants.
I wonder if there's an element of the fact that because negative character arcs kind of feel weird in the stomach when you approach them, because they're wrong, because that's not the way the character's supposed to go. It almost makes them easier to kind of to look over and see the flaws in when you're witnessing them. So you've kind of got to course correct more. And I wonder if that's why they're harder, because it shouldn't actually be the case that a positive change is easier to fight than a negative change, like technically. But like, I think it's possibly just that people will analyze your negative one more deeply, because they'll be like, no, this character is supposed to remain a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be great.
I think you're hyping it up a little bit too much, but I will accept your money.
There is not enough hype for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he's allowed to be hyped. He did the art.
True.
I'm so glad you brought that up just randomly.
It is one of the longest going memes on the channel. Which, third draft is finished, and I'm going to be doing fourth draft on the... Yeah, it's going to be kind of... They're mostly flat character arcs, since it's a... I can't do... since there's 6 people on the team, not everybody's going to have a meaningful character arc. But I guess like Damien has the base character arc because he emerges as kind of the leader of the group, despite the fact, and kind of just grows out of being a nerd, a shy nerd. So that's, I guess, like his character.
The moral of the story that you should is the moral of the story that you should stop being a nerd.
Nerd.
Perhaps.
Yeah, Becca, stop being a nerd.
Well, oh no, he remains a nerd. He just becomes a less punch bagable. He just becomes less of a punch bag nerd. Which I'm pretty sure that we can all agree that becoming not a punching bag is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's deep.
Not get punched. If you walk
Never
away
s-
with anything from the stream today, it's that getting punched hurts. Don't do it.
It does.
Don't do
Don't
it.
get punched.
And if you are, stop it.
Get some help. Mr. Miyagi, best way to avoid a punch, be somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Alrighty. Any other thoughts on like a corruption character arc?
No, it's pretty straightforward. The
Yeah.
hero gives in to the temptation.
Yep. And
Yeah.
generally it's like there is something that is they want that is bad. Usually, like Walter White wants money from drug, from methamphetamine.
Anakin Skywalker's a weird one because he's doing everything for all the quote unquote right reasons because he's terrified his wife is gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all Palpatine is doing is dangling. I can keep her alive in front of Anakin, and Anakin. The caveat is that Anakin has to fall to get that power, and then he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So, well,
Well, the funniest part is that he just says to cheat death is a power only one is achieved, but I'm sure that we can figure it out together.
yeah.
Which is kind of just like, you said you knew. You said you knew, mother effer. You said you knew. You better tell me, or else I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Kill you and claim that it was because you murdered Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward. Any like final thoughts on like character arcs before we conclude? That was pretty good.
Not really.
Okay. Well, this has been fun, my friends. This is nice and under 2 hour stream. About a pretty dense topic.
Concise.
Yeah,
very concise.
that was great.
Short, sweet, simple, to the point.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, we will conclude it there. Battle of the Seven, as usual. I'll end with kind of the Battle of the Seven Suns is available on Amazon right now. Dragon Blaster is available for pre-order, and it will be released at the end of August. That is a solid gold guarantee. If I do not, you have the right to hound me until the time that it does.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.